Okay. I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. Namaste and welcome everyone to the latest edition of the Siddhaveda Multiversity Wednesday webinar. Today we are honored to have with us the Vice Chancellor of Siddhaveda Multiversity, Dr. Shanmugmarthy Lakshmanan. Dr. Shan, as he is popularly known, is a Harvard-trained scientist with a PhD in applied physics from Rutgers NJIT. He is the recipient of multiple awards from various international organizations, including the Aryabhat Award for research in Ayurveda. He's a scientist, an author, an editor, a poet, a farmer, a loving husband, and a wonderful father to two children. Welcome, Dr. Shan. So today we are here to discuss the generational gap and how to bridge it using the ancient wisdom. Although the term generation gap was coined in the 1960s, the difference in opinion between different generations has always existed. It has simply become more pronounced as lifespans are longer and the rate of progress is much faster than ever before. So in your opinion, what are the major reasons for the gap in the current generation?
Well, it's a topic that of great interest. Thank you for this question. So today, if you look at the generations that we are looking at, the gap is like huge compared to the gap that we had at least few years back. It's not necessarily in the 60s, but definitely, even 20 years back, if you go back, life was not too bad, right? There is
Correct.
communication happening. Main thing is that, we have listened to our parents, for example, right? Our grandparents used to communicate with us, and there is a inter-exchange of ideas, there was value in that. So today I don't see that kind of a value happening. Maybe it's happening internally, but people, there's a gap. What is happening? People are isolated. So more nuclear kind of environment is created within nuclear family. Already we are nuclear families broken, and then within nuclear family, everybody has their own agendas, which are big. So they are locked in that agenda, and they are isolated in that space, right? Children are very busy. They have their homework and things like that. They used to sit in front of the computer for hours, or their entertainment is through computers and other gadgets. So what's happening is that no real human relationship is happening, right?
Right.
So that is the challenge that we see. So the real is, I mean, generation, it's a gap in all aspects, and generational gap is one of the things that's happening as a consequence of this, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And as the parents grew up in India and the children are growing up in North America, that causes another rift because they're unable to connect with them.
So the way that things are working is that many countries were supposed to call developing countries, now they have developed. So they come to, what is called the developed country, right? So now we have to catch up with all the things. So it's a challenging for them to really even get a job in another country and then work in that environment. It consumes a lot of time, so now because of that, in addition, the cultural values are not very intact. It's difficult to, meet up with a cultural thing. So we used to, for example, they will be waking up early morning in the Indian culture. But when they come here, they have to late night, they go to do some software job, they sleep at like 1, 2 o'clock, and we cannot expect them to wake up early morning, right?
Right,
So
right.
these are realistic challenges that they have. So in addition to, the gap between here and India, and then we basically because uh, people have now isolated into their own job, relationship, right, between the parents and the kids or the grandparents, that is also extending, the distance is growing bigger and bigger. Because there is, see, like, for example, grandparenting, right? Today, we don't have that grandparenting knowledge. We lost, basically, right?
Right,
Why?
right.
Because this is the lack of adjustment between, the parents themselves, like, for example, the millennials who came here, they wanted to be having, their own isolated family, and they would even restrict their parents or some, because there's both ways. There's a problem. If a grandparent, your mother-in-law, father-in-law, or somebody, your parents come here, they create a problem and go back. So this is happening, right? So because they haven't changed their perspectives of how life is, they haven't understood the other culture, how it's working. They don't take into consideration. So, for example, a male-dominated society would always look at women as, lower. In some case, why the husband need to cook? What is this lady doing? She may be going to job also, but all these questions, come, raising the kids, etc. So both, and also the the energy that is consumed, like, right, by corporates, because humans have limited energy, so we are sucked into that energy, and we don't have the time to take care of our own parents or in-laws. It's another thing, right?
Right.
Because we see whether they can help us in raising our kids, etc. We are not giving back. So what has happened? The whole generation, that's the sandwich generation, we call it, right? The sandwich
Right, right.
generation is our parents. They are in both sides. They have taken care of their parents. Usually that's how the culture we have brought up, and we take care of our parents. But that's not happening now. So till the end, they have to suffer. Because again, they are going to give their energy to raise the kids, etc. And we cannot take care of them. And they don't like to be, living. Most people, even if they allow them to come to the United States, they don't want to live here. Some of them, my dad used to tell, it's like a rich man's jail. They have
Yes,
everything.
yes, a
They don't
golden
have life,
cage.
he says.
Yes.
He passed away a couple of years, but he was thinking, see, if when you go to India, people are around, they talk, they just drive somewhere, or, go to the, estate. Activities are there. Here, there's no real life. It's not there.
Right.
So these are some of the challenges that is leading, and today everybody is moving. You cannot, like, the parents want to have better education. So in the modernization of things, we always want better. So all move to cities. So even in India or anywhere, migration is happening. So when migration happens, we are looking at nuclear families. And nuclear families, there is no close relationship. They don't understand psychology of parents, how they, grandparents, those kind of things. So this gap in the United States, it's now is becoming huge. And everybody want to help each other, but they're not able to, right? Even the parenting, most of them
Right.
put their parents in a old age home, and they feel that is even better than they staying alone and suffering in India.
Right.
Because the parents don't want to come here, right?
Right.
So
Right.
these are some of the challenges, but we can really work out a very good solution for these things, right? If you really plan and engage them, respect them and engage them. If you have a little bit of adjustment in the society, little bit of awareness, some education is given in this area, we can give education to the kids. And first of all, this is to be done by the parents, the millennial generation, who can train the kids as well as the grandparents, their parents, right? So that need to happen.
Correct.
So yeah.
So, could you please suggest some ways to bridge this gap using your extensive knowledge of the ancient sciences as well as modern technology?
Well, let's see. Let us use just the modern things, right? Let us see, So see, engaging, there are so many things that. So today I was, my wife and myself, we were playing the shuttlecock, the badminton inside.
Oh, badminton, yeah.
You don't need a real ball or bat, you just need to play. And they take turns, because she used to, I used to play with my kids, and then, if I don't have time, my wife will do. So this is an engagement. So it'll go for an hour, this game, right? And it's very
Right.
good for the exercise. But this 1 hour has taken their time from other gadgets. They got some physical exercise. And engaging, we are exchanging, talks. You're better in this college days, you did this, I used to play, very good player in this sports. And also exchange is happening.
Right,
Knowledge.
right. You create memories. Yeah.
Exactly. So when my, grandparents are here, my parents are here, they would also be train them to play certain games also. For example, my in-laws, they would play like carom, the chess, they play like Uno game and all, and they keep the kids engaged. See, these are small things that it's not a very difficult thing for, to train the parents. Even older parents, we can train something, like skip rope or some old ancient games we can do. Doesn't matter. There are many,
Right.
Pallangudi, there are many games in ancient, we can do that. But, first thing, we should have this kind of thing to make sure, the parents need to make sure that this engagement is happening. It's consciously happening. If you don't take the interest, they will go to sit in front of the gadgets, right?
Right, right.
So my mother used to come, and they will sing like Carnatic music and all the spiritual aspect of things, is training, because that lacking the component. What a parent, we see, if we give a little bit of thing, it's a little forceful, because already the teachers are giving so much. And when parents giving something formal, it won't reach them. It is like a pressure for them. Whereas
Right.
the if this is coming from the grandparents, they see it differently. So grandparenting is becoming a very, very important component. And we need to make a lot of, that's the word, tolerance, adjustment, sacrifice. These three things for relationship. So if we don't do these three things, I mean, we'll end up everybody fight, and you can have nuclear family, and with all the computers, all the sophisticated stuff, you will not have life. Right?
Right.
Life won't be there.
Yeah.
So
So
that's the whole thing, So we need to, you can engage them in, like, for example, cooking activities, for example, right?
Right.
So cooking is something that grandparents know some secrets that we will lose those. Even the kids can make some videos, and they engage them, learn from them how to cook, because that's a traditional knowledge. Many of the traditional knowledge is in oral tradition. They are not written in books. That's how many of the Siddha Ayurveda knowledge has been carried out. In many things are not in the books. Not that just people who publish book, they have the knowledge. There are people who don't even read any Ayurveda Siddharth expert, they are like amazing, you know, Vaidyas, right? Because that's for generations that has been transferred from one, parent to another. So it goes back, 15 generations, 16 generations like that. And we have a lot of hidden knowledge. And the grandparents, we don't document them. There's a lot of things. If you ask them a few things, where what did you eat in your period? What so those are some things that has amazing culinary benefit, right? That is, he has a
Right.
healing potential, and the way they cooked, the way they used, all these things can be recorded, right? So engaging the students, you can learn a lot. Then it's not just going to a university and learning and taking formal classes. That alone is education. Education first primarily should happen from the parents and grandparents, our family. Family is the biggest university, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Eh, And you had also mentioned something about the growing the herbs yourself, like gardening would be another way to
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of.
Well, that's one of the things. So, I have a small garden here, right? I That's a home garden, and I make all kind of vegetables. Almost like in that small area, up to 6 to 7 months. And because in Northeast there is snow and other things, I don't have a greenhouse yet. But up to 6 to 7 months, I don't buy any vegetable. Right? It's
Oh,
fresh.
wow.
Then I store something for 2 3 months. So almost like 7 8 months, right? 8 9 months, say, we don't buy anything, right? And that will, I can see that the connection, if you look at our bank statement, the transactions and everything, whenever we went and purchased, for grocery, I would have purchased many more other things. But when this
Mhm.
6 months, when you don't purchase, you actually cut down quite a bit of
Right. Right.
unwanted expenses, right? So what I do in
Right.
that garden, I allocate a particular couple of space for my kids, and they will have to seed and take care of it and then harvest. So what is very engaging thing, so they know how to do the gardening and how things grow and how it works, and then they see every day, how it is growing, right? So this I have been engaging them like when they were like 5 4 5 years old. From there,
Mhm.
I did keep doing this. Now they're turning teenager, or, busy with the modern gadgets, unfortunately, right? um, but the grounding activity is less compared to previously, but at least they know that this is their allocated space. They will have to do something, and I tell them while they're cooking, you bring this particular rosemary from your garden, we'll add, so those kind of things. So they go bring the spices, whatever it is, so this is engaging them in another activity which takes quite a bit of time. And we recycle everything, all the manure and everything. We make our own manure, right? From scratch. We don't
Right.
throw anything. Everything is recycled, and we create into the manure. So this, they know that, they see that. So even, not that they're like engaged in all these activities, but they engage in, like say taking the, at least they know where to put the thing, right? And most of the time they know the whole process, what is happening. So this is a knowledge that parents can do certain things, so that the children observe through observation. They learn through energy. They learn through our mental energy. They can learn. And third one, through education they can learn. So not necessarily education alone can teach this, right? We can, through our energy, our mind, we can change them. Through our own practices, we can be an example for them. So they know that these are the things that the parents did, even though they will be modernized and they will do every activity, but this will remain. Most of the things that my parents did, I see the value only after so many years, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
right, that's how we all have grown up, right? Like when what they did,
Yes.
and but it's too late. but these kids will catch up very quickly. I mean, they
Yeah.
will
And
see
also,
that. I
yeah.
see that like a lot of kids, they become very highly matured in a very short time, and then they come back. They dig
Mhm.
deeper. But if you don't give that component, then we miss them, right? So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And also when they grow their own vegetables, there's that pride that, they grew it.
yeah,
And yeah, and when they
exactly.
cook, when they
Yeah,
cook,
they
they
cook,
learn all these different
they grow. That's the
skills.
own
Yeah.
energy. Keeping first of all, what is the difference between it takes only if you took look at our time wise, I put more money actually in this and time also. But people will like when you see comparison, if you get this much, you $1, you will get some this, like if you go to a
Right.
restaurant, you can eat $2 like that, they compare, why do you waste time? This is how the mindset now today, even
Yes.
the boomers, they think that way. People who came, retired and they wanted to come here, say they feel, oh, this is a shortcut method. We'll buy some, bun and jam and all these things, we'll do this. But this way of doing this keeps our energy in all levels. Seeding is a very important.
Right.
When you take a seed, it has energy. That seed, what some of the seeds that I carry are from generations. I maintain those seeds, right? So
Right.
those seeds, they give the energy back and back. I am taking the seed from the same thing, putting this, they maintain energy. They are biodynamic seeds. So they come back. We bless, we do Agnihotra, we do all kind of things in the garden. Every day go and bless the garden. So our biomagnetic energy goes into the garden. So all these things make the food biodynamic. It takes a medicine before it comes to the kitchen. In the kitchen, like what is the
Right.
difference between we cooking versus a restaurant cooking? What's the difference? In a restaurant, they put a lot of energy, like negative energies, like, the stress and all these things. Because energy is not just with what you're talking about, calories, this kind of thing. These human
Yes.
interference energies are real and they are documented nowadays. This is all what we thought was old. Now they see this kind of energy, they interfere and change the cellular epigenetics. They change at the cellular DNA level. Things change, right? So that is something to look at. And when you have that kind of a food, it becomes food, biodynamic food, and then we are eating together. This is another thing, joining
Yes.
together. So today's it's very difficult now. If I see my kid, one kid will be eating in his own thing, he will be doing homework and eating another. So at least we had rules. Before we had rules like we have to eat at least, we are grounded, sitting down and eating at least on the weekend. So sitting down on the floor, crisscross,
Yeah.
because that is where the samana vayu, operates our body. That's the right way of eating, So we used to do, at least on the weekend, we used to do that. So now it has come to a level that weekend we can always have at least together, put together.
Right.
So it depends on how the parents want to do. If you can do every day, at least one meal, we all eat together, be prepared. So cook early, last minute, mother will be doing everything. And then, she comes last, she will eat at the last. Instead of that, cook, keep it ready. And you meet like this 6 o'clock. If you want to come, we'll come here, otherwise, we are not eating. If everybody comes, we'll eat. So that kind of, culture, if we create at least one meal, peacefully, mindfully eat. It's not about meal, it's not for talking. That's a different thing. Talking is not a good idea while you're eating. Eating is for enjoying, mindfully eating everything.
Right. It when you're talking while eating, it increases the vata, and then the digestion doesn't happen properly. So
Exactly.
that's something that we have forgotten. Yeah.
Yes.
And
You know
yes.
better because you are an Ayurvedic
Yeah.
consultant and you
Yeah.
know how these things work. in a,
Right.
so yeah, definitely.
So, but eating together would create memories, and also it would help them to just connect with each other on a personal level, right? And
Exactly.
and also eating, you mentioned eating mindfully. So could you elaborate on that?
So mindful eating is one of the important things, right? So if you are like, for example, the every food, whatever we eat, whatever things we eat, there are 6 types of taste only, right? But most of the time we don't, we just eat something, we'll watch some movies, or we'll be talking over the phone to somebody and eating all these things. So what is this? What are we missing in this versus eating mindfully without talking? So see the difference, then you can choose, right? And we can do a small experiment also here, you know. So when you're eating, with mindfulness, when chewing and eating, and if you can measure those tastes, there is a different tastes are there. So those tastes, if you can identify with your tongue, they have a therapeutic benefit. Just by sensing, how deeper you're sensing, accordingly you'll have a therapeutic benefit, even if the food is not going inside.
Wow.
So it happens in a energy level. So transformation, this is called tanmatras, panchatanmatras. So in panchatanmatra, taste is a transformation of the liquid part of our body. So there are 5 states of matter: solid state, the liquid state, the fire, the air, and ether. So all these 5 are in our body, 5 states of matter, right? We have liquid in our body.
Yeah.
The solid body takes care of the structure, and all the nadis are made, and through which liquid nadis or vata nadi are there, pitta nadis are there. The fire component moves. Air, kapha nadis are there. vata nadis are there, and kapha nadis, the liquid is the kapha nadi. So along with this energy is there ether that flows through channels. All the 72,000 channels are there, right? These all,
Right.
they produce the transformation nadis are also there. They transform into the pressure, taste, smell, sound, heat, and light. So one of the thing is that, so each element will have a transformation, and the transformation for the liquid part of our body is called the taste. So this taste can be used as a therapeutic benefit. Even this is not just the food, means there are many components. When you're eating food first goes to the body. There is a, virya and vipaka. Virya is like the potency of the food, whether it is a hot potency, cold potency. Hot potency, cold potency means whether the food is high, creating heat in our body, or cooling. That's one. It is not to whether
Right.
it is hot food or cold food. That has an independent effect. You can have you can have a cold mango, but it will become hot inside you. Right.
Right. Right.
So that is a
Yes.
different story. But the whole thing is that the food itself has a very kind of effect that will affect our body, depending on, if you're eating like a cucumber varieties, all these things, it will cool down. And you're eating in the
Right.
winter time, it is having cooling effect.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. People eating watermelon in winter because it's available in the store
Right.
without thinking that it's not a seasonal fruit. Yes.
Exactly. So now, if you're looking at the, taste wise, so how we'll tell how this is kind of mindfully connecting, the parent, the cook versus the, the kids, how they connect, we'll say, So first thing, so if you look at this, this is one effect, then the taste will affect. The taste is independently affecting, right? The heat potency that will go inside will affect. That will give you a right,
Right.
these 2 effects. The other effect will be the 6 taste will give therapeutic benefit. For example, if you're touching a spice here without even swallowing, if you take a little Indian pickle and touch your tongue, you can immediately become angry also. That has an independent effect on the psychology also. So physical body, psychology, both can be affected with this effect, even without the food going inside you. So that is an independent therapy. The third part of the food is that going inside the body and converting into 7 saptadhatus, 7 types of tissues.
Mhm.
So there are 3 processes in this, right? And when they convert, finally they become the 7th tissue will be the energy. That's how, like in modern science, we call ATP to
Ojas.
ADP. Here the energy is
Right.
gone. They have talked very clearly about in the Ayurveda Siddha text. It is clearly mentioned 7 types of dhadus are there, and finally it convert to energy in 21 days for a highly metabolic person to a, you know, for 48 day or 49th day for a, people who are slow in metabolism. So they take this period as a mandala and give any treatment according to that mandala, because food takes time to convert. So whatever medicine you take,
Right.
you will see the effect in the 49 day, right? Right.
Got it. Got
So
it.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned that there are 6 tastes. We know only about 5. Can you explain about the 6th one?
So most of them, like sweet, salt, they know spicy, pickle, like kind of, like spices, all the spices they know. They know about the sour also people know, like we use yogurt and lemon and also, and then bitter, all the
We know
greens, they have bitter,
yes.
they know, and then one different taste is there. Like people in India, they know about this betel nut. Betel nut is a classical example. Or unripened banana, plantains, right? They have, when you eat an unripened banana, you will have an effect. Or the effect of eating a carrot at the end, you will have an effect. That's called astringent. Mostly astringent, bitter, they're closer. If you don't know how to identify, but most of them, are closer. In one of them, what is astringent, they will also have this, right? So the effect of this, they have various benefits. So now we can do a small experiment. So if each one of you can bring, we'll give a little gap, I think. What do you think? Like a short break?
Sure, a couple of minutes. Sure.
Couple of minutes. So what you can bring is, like you need to bring something that you can cut, like a vegetable, like it could be a vegetable like onion or something, or it could be two things, like an apple and a vegetable, like an apple and vegetable. You can bring it small pieces, cut like few pieces, 4 or 5 pieces. So we'll do some experiment, and I will show you how you can mindfully connect to this, and how a family can become a research lab. How a family can become a research lab that contributes to ancient science, and how you can change your perspective for, in relationship. How this will become how this will make your kids mindful. So that is the whole idea. The whole idea is like how by cooking something and telling them to do this experiment, how your relationship will change. I will tell you. So can we try that? So you can bring something. I will wait. Bring little pieces of this one vegetable and one fruit. So let me know when you're ready. We can do this experiment together.
So while we are waiting, are we asking audience to ask some questions as well? Would be giving.
Yeah, they can ask questions, but if they're available here, but if they wanted to bring that thing, they can go bring.
Yeah, and I think you want them to bring a piece of paper and some markers
yes,
too.
yes, right. They want to bring a piece of paper. So what we can do, if we bring a piece of paper, and then maybe you can have some color pencils if you want, or you can bring a pen. Okay, I have to find the right pen. So what is working for me? So we are going to see, this is just a line, and we can draw several lines. If you have a lined thing, it's okay. So I will draw this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I drew like 10 lines, horizontal lines. You see that?
We can't, no, it's not visible.
Okay,
It's
I
getting
am going
kind of
to
blurred.
show you. Okay. So do you see the lines?
Yeah.
So
Yes, now they're
you draw
visible.
lines like this, right? Horizontal lines. That's enough.
Okay.
So now you take one pen, right? So I can say you can mark down here 0, 1, 2, 3. Maybe you can do like 11 lines, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 lines. So it'll go from 0, right? 0 to 10.
Okay, so it's sort of like a graph.
Yeah, it's like a graph, 0 to 10 it goes, but we can mark down. So the idea is if everybody has the food ready with you, the fruits, veggies, let me know. So what we have to do, we can say you need to mark down, say for example, you're chewing. So you can chew like an apple, for example, right? And slowly identify what kind of taste along this taste. I told you relatively. Identify what is the sourness in apple. Like which one is like hitting you high, like sweet, sour, or anything. So that one, whatever is the highest, that peak, that you pick as the first one. Say for example, the sweetness of apple is almost like 8. I'm going to draw a line from a vertical line like this, from 0 to 9. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if that's one color, you can put that in one color. And the other line, I'm looking at what is the food that is having the next level. Next is like, I think maybe the sourness is around, say, 6. So I'm going to draw a line from 0 to 6. And I write down, on the bottom, this is sweet. And this is sour. And I see the astringent may be 4. So I put astringent. And then there is salt. I don't think so. There is like little, maybe, I don't know. It's not much salt there. I cannot sense that. Or bitterness, maybe a little bitter, like maybe 1 bitter. Right? Is there any spicy? Inch or maybe nothing. Apple might have a little bit spicy if you look at. Right? Onions you can sense, like spice is there, sweetness is there, sour is there. Right? Lot of things there. So when you do this graph like this, so this is called a spectroscopy, taste spectroscopy, and this is my own finding, basically. So the taste spectroscopy will help, like how we are doing like spectroscopy in the light. There are 7 types of light. In 6 type of this is a whole new chapter of taste spectroscopy. Okay. So this chapter, this will give you a very good idea of many things. I will tell you when you do this, what happens. So are you doing this? Are you chewing and marking down this? Everybody, just give me a thumbs up or put it in the chat. Are you engaging? Okay. Now, once you are engaged in this, what happens now? See, now what you do after doing this, you can note down, one of the things, maybe you can take 2 trials. Take another piece and chew, and then you draw a line next to that. Maybe it is closer. It's not like before, but it may be a little different, right? But it is almost close. So I will have 2 lines. So the more the trials you take, the stronger the statistics it goes, right? I would take 3 trials, 4 trials, right, per person. And if I do like 3 times a day, that's a huge statistics per person. And if I do for a week, think about it. If I do for 5 people in a family, huge. That is publishable. I'll tell you how this can be published, right? This data. That's what we are training our students. And this is engaging because the family is engaged in this. And we can make them taste all the food that the mom cooks. Right? Try this. This is an experiment, right? So engaging, we can involve grandparents. Make the kids do with the grandparents. Tell them to taste something and note this. And this can go into a research paper.
So can you please explain more about
How
this?
this
This sounds
works,
very
I'll
intriguing.
tell you. Yeah. So if you do this, right, what is happening? You are creating a spectroscopy chart, right? You will have a lot of spectrum, and then we take statistics. So most of you, if you look at a particular taste, a particular apples, for example, apple has a standard taste. If you take a particular apple, like there are different brands, right? An apple is an apple. No matter what, there may be little bit changes of sour and other things. But overall, those standards of apple is defined by taste only. Like it's a raga. In Carnatic, there is a raga. Each raga, it is whatever it is, it comes under the raga. Like that, the taste will come under the 6. Like the Swarasthanas, the taste in the thing will come as to come under the 6th one, right? It cannot change. So each fruit is defined only by the taste in the spectroscopy. So you can actually define, if I know apple for 1,000 people, I know the spectroscopy of apple. This is what apple is. And if somebody is not able to sense this particular range, all others are sensing, then we identify there is a dosa defect. There's a dosha in them. And therefore, we can give a solution just by giving the taste for them. There's an alternative taste that if they take that, this will be fixed. So it can act as an identifying tool, diagnostic tool for them. Right? So like this, you can see that what body type, if the Prakriti, according to the Prakriti, we can, give different kind of taste. If you know what is the taste, what is the underlying problem you have, accordingly you can fix your dosha. And dosha is responsible for all the disease in the world. They have to come under the doshas. There's nothing else bigger than that. Any disease in the world will come under this dosa only. Because of the dosa disorder only, other things come.
Right. Just the imbalance.
What we call
the imbalance between the doshas.
It's an imbalance, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that is the whole idea. So if you have done this experiment, now you can do just by closing your eyes for a couple of minutes, focus on the tongue. This is a meditative process, right? So now what you're doing, you're not telling this a meditation or these things. Don't talk about Ayurveda or anything with your kid, but this can be done dependently, right? So think about it, right? So when you're now, in our programs, we have 2 things. One of the thing we are training the students to publish this level 1, right? Simple, this kind of research they can go and publish in they do at home only, these experiments, right? They can go and we create, conferences that they go and publish there, present there in the conferences. Then the parents, if they were involved, they can also come and present, and they can even publish a paper. So these are the things I'll show in a bit, what we are doing, how to get into this program. But here, what we are doing is actually connecting, you know, the generations together through such a game. This is a game actually now. They play the game as a very useful game, a very interesting game. It's a modern game, and it's not very difficult for the millennial people to understand. Also nowadays they do a lot of, you know, other things, right? Engaging game, easy. And the kids are very smart enough to convert this, and lot of data can be derived. Like experts like Gupta ji and all are statisticians. They have a lot of things that I don't see, right? I'm an experimenter, you know, but they, the statisticians, they look into a lot of things. Oh, there are so many components, and then you can interpret on those components, and you can publish those, right? So that is something.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, we did this kind of experiment recently, and last month. All these things are engaging at home kind of experiment. And they did at home, they measured like Vastu kind of structures, they put like how plants grow inside, like that. Many experiments were there, spectroscopy was there. So they came and presented in a conference in Iowa at Maharishi International University, right? So every year we propose to have that, and we have other conferences coming in Nigeria, many other places. In even we send some of the students to mainstream conferences such as the you know, BPS, you know, Biophysical Society, American Physical Society, like that, you know, all big conferences. Also our students are going and presenting, and also they will be publishing. The advanced version of this will be published in journals, and today and tomorrow, every day we have a lined up for publication, lot of papers now. Yeah.
So how many students presented in the Iowa conference?
Iowa paper, like around 20 people presented, right, in the Iowa conference. And they were all, these students were trained and by special faculty who had that kind of expertise. All are from well-versed colleges, from MIT, Harvard, IIT, you know, all kind of places, Stanford, you know. So these are the kind of faculty we have, and who have passion for our ancient culture to bring the, you know, our traditional knowledge. And they all do like wonderful service, and that's how we engage the students. Then they give a lot of time, and our volunteers are amazing volunteers we have, who did a wonderful job, who are also very conscious people, you know, and we were able to train them, and it went very successful. The conference, I got calls from all different organizations saying, you did a wonderful conference there. We heard about this event. And that is something, you know, that all our we all are proud of.
Yes, yes. So what's the age, like how old do the students have to be to join the program, the WICA program?
Well, they can be, see, from 13 plus, they can get engaged, right? So there is no upper limit. We don't limit upper limit, but most of the students, they come in this range, or they will be millennial moms who are 40s, you know, and all, because these are the two gaps that we are looking at, you know. Once in the teenage up to 22 years, at least we had like 2-3 students in the college level, right? But others all are in the school, high school.
They're freshmen through seniors.
Freshmen, yeah. So, and then the other where the parents also present, some of the parents were millennials, they had interest. So they both, you know, they're coming together and presenting it. So that kept them, their relationship also, like manage them. Because today, if you're looking at how to manage relationship, if you do not have a common ground, there's a huge gap between. In some way, we need to engage them. So one of the ways to research common subject.
Right.
So parent, we can twin, you know, a mother and a daughter can do the same research and publish in the same paper, which we are training them. So they are engaging, right?
Right. And learning together.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dr. Shan, for sharing your expertise with us. And so if you think, we can now open up the forum for questions.
Yeah, well, before going to I would just wanted to show you this website quickly, and then we can go for questions. So you know, like where to get this information. So if you wanted to get into this kind of, you know, the want to know more about it, you can actually go to this this website. So it is you can type down, I think the website is www. Let me type down here. Yeah, let me copy and paste. So this is the thing. So if you go there, yes. So you can go to this website, see the link, and go to programs. And programs, if you go to the Youth Empowerment, Indigenous Knowledge and Career Accelerator program, you can see what we do and all the previous programs, what these kids all done, all are here. Like review, all these things under the it's all about faculty and every information is here, right? And we show some of the projects that we are doing. There are more projects. This Ayurveda and all are updated for people who are already there in the program. So these are some of the programs, right? And then if you click the advanced program, here in the first program, we're going to train you to do like a presentation in a conference, and we publish that in a proceedings. And the next one is the advanced research program, where we train them to the next level, where they can publish a full paper. And you don't have to be really an expert in this. They will do all the contribution, whatever they can do, right? Somebody is good in one part, like the data, somebody is good in writing. So depending on what you're good at, we can engage them. But we train them at least in the students' case. We train them on how to collect data, and because it's very important for their higher education. Because if you get one paper, you can go to any institute. Like that's the first thing, because a lot of people, they have like very good scores, but getting into a college is very, very difficult for them, because everybody is competitive. It's very competitive. But when you have one paper, and we will give you recommendation letters, all the students we are giving, like most of them are in the applying for colleges, we gave recommendation to so many students at the faculty. That's an advantage. You get a recommendation from a reputed institute faculty with the different credentials. You can Google all of them, all information. They all have like 20-30 pages, right, of their information. A well-known faculty, right? So that is something that you have to look for, where you can engage your students. So that's the whole idea, is that this kind of mindful engagement. See, when I'm talking about this food exclusively, it's an example. I can give you many examples where you can bridge the gap, and you can have an engagement that will turn this into something very concrete, right? And that is the way I think today, because you cannot engage the students without involving them in their logical brain.
Right.
So this is an idea, and everybody will be mindful. See, now what has happened, if you're chewing and eating, what happened? You become very mindful. If you do it for meditate for 2 minutes, and you do the same experiment, then this thing will shift. Now you will see better things happening. Your problem probably is solved, right? So these are the things that you can do and see, and you can get a lot of data there. If you keep documenting this data, you can see the shift from one day to another, and all these things. You can ask your daughters to do this, or son to do this. They will have data enough to publish. We need a lot of data for this. If you have 10,000 data of this, it's huge. You're proving, like humanity, you can prove all the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, all these things are real. Everything can be proven. There are a lot of underlying things, in Ayurveda, Siddha. The fundamentals can be proved through statistically. It gives a lot of information. This alone can have a breakthrough thing. So,
right. What a great opportunity for young students, and as well as parents, to connect and to learn and to help humanity. So it's a win-win-win situation.
Exactly. See, that's the way we need to do this today. Otherwise, we're going to lose this next generation. If you don't transfer this knowledge, our traditional knowledge to the younger generation, they're lost. And it cannot be done through religion. That is failure. Because these kids that are growing in the North America, they are not a religious mindset. They're not like they disconnect religion with other things. Religion is a separate thing. They may respect, have some respect, but they don't connect with a thing. They think that for even the cooking and other thing, they don't connect with the modern things like what they're doing. They don't know there's a traditional knowledge, there is a science behind that, etc.
Exactly, exactly. I
Right.
think religious practices were introduced because people were, for the layperson who could not understand the science behind it, so they attached a religious connotation to it.
Exactly.
But we need to get back to the scientific roots of our traditions.
Yes. That's how we can communicate with our youth. Without engaging in youth, the parents have a lot of pressure. They cannot do it. Parents are
Right.
not the right people. Even I am telling, I am as a parent, I'm failing. Right? I know these tips, but I cannot give it to my kids like as an individual. Only through if I have the institute, they enroll them, they get engaged, and that's the way we can get them in. And they're interested now, after looking at all these things. Okay, they're doing something. And because if we try to, do all these things, they don't have that respect. That's lost. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to write in the chat or unmute yourself.
Yeah. Please, we want everybody to be engaged. I don't know, you give your comments. Shastri ji is there, Gupta ji.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the questions that I've been wondering, I've been listening to what you've been saying, is more related to relationship, right? So even if I'm sitting with the younger generation on a dining table, they're not paying attention to me, right? And they are lost in their own world. So how do I'm sitting together may not be a solution. So I just keep wondering, rather in the ancient times, there was no question of a nuclear family. I mean, you read Mahabharata and Ramayana, everybody lived together. And there was no choice, never even thought about. I think there was an economic basis to it as well. So, what is from the ancient to the modern? What is the big difference that
So
creates this?
the whole difference, I can say one of the things that I can see is that, so today's everything is driven by economics, money based. Money is the primary thing to drive. For example, any institute, they need to be funded, right? So if the institute need to be funded, even scientists or anybody who is doing, they need fund, right? So either the corporate will fund or a government will fund or something. So what they have a deadline. They give a deadline. So whenever we are giving a deadline, you see, there is a pressure. Whenever there is a pressure, we are giving them like, okay, this is the pressure, this is the time you have to do. What happens? They will rush through. So all the science that was developed through is the rushing through. It's like when your mind is of too many things. Like for example, you're running through, you have a time crunch, and we wanted to make your meeting in another half an hour, and you wanted to search for a pen, and you look everywhere, and you don't find the pen. And then you go to the office after the meeting is done. You sit down. Oh, I kept the pen on the shelf. Remember that. What is the difference? When you were running, you have a lot of thoughts. When you have a lot of thoughts, you did not make the right decision. When you were quiet, you identify the truth. The pen was here. So the difference between a culture which has been meditating and practicing and build a culture based on that, their perspective are their long-term solutions. Our ancient forefathers have given long time solution beyond time. That's why every modern solution, every time it changes. They give one vaccine that won't work, another vaccine. Why is changing? In Ayurveda, Siddha, if you look at what those days they gave, is the same thing for ages. For thousands of years to come, it is the same solution. So not only they are giving only the herbal and other solution, they have given everything for life. Every 360-degree, they have given solutions. If you follow our ancient traditional knowledge, bring everything packaged in the right way, the modern way, then we will beat this generation gap, because nowadays, either the parents also don't have time to meditate. Grandparents are all watching all this, because the parents only, they spoil their parents. They watch all this drama and the natak and all these things that will go and they will cry. Movie, this has become a very big industry. Movie, right? So
Yeah.
meditating people are very less. So the two ways, it is a generation gap has to happen between two. Like you are liking to Gupta ji, you wanted to communicate that your grandparents, right? You may have the right intention, maybe you're meditating and things like that. You want to tell something about ancient, but they are in their own world, right? With the gadgets. Now, two things need to happen, right? One of the thing can happen is the parents can tell them, okay, you have to spend half an hour with your grandparent in some activity. This is the rule, you make the rule, right? Whatever it is, you have to engage, whether it's a game or anything. So you need to come down, you need to understand what these kids need. At least play with them. Do something like even a board game or anything. That's the first level of engagement. First thing, communication should happen. So everybody is isolated in a corner, this won't happen. So that need to happen first. And then we can engage more
Dr.
in
Shan, I
the
mean,
time.
all that is okay, but the media is so powerful. So
Right.
younger days, the media is bombarding me. All these oldies, they don't know much. My peers, they say, hey, don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They'll tell you all bunch of crap. So all that keeps going on. The opposite side
Yes,
is
media
the
will do that, but this
kind of
is the world
environment
we are
we
living.
live.
We have to find in the world which is a problem. So you're looking at, I used to tell, people, I don't have my, all are, I don't have a good space to meditate. Then I tell, you don't want to meditate, then don't meditate. You don't give an excuse for meditating. Meditation, where you need to practice, go to the Calcutta fish market, sit down and meditate. That is where you learn meditation. Meditation cannot be learned in an ashram sitting or a forest. You will not learn. That's not meditation. That anybody will be automatically meditating only. Where we need to meditate, where there is everything happening bad. And that is what we are in the situation we are now in. We have to create that mindfulness, the awareness. We have to create that space that others can live and engage and live. That's the only way we can do it. It's not waiting for something to happen, and this is not going to change, it's going to worsen. Many engagements will happen, time will run fast, a lot of things happen. Before that, what we can do in our own controlled state, right? So in ancient day, they talk about three things, like one is a fully controlled state, one is partially controlled, and one is uncontrolled. These states will be there in every time period. The one that you control, I can example tell, I can cook my organic food. That is my control state. My neighbor is a nice guy. He's from Punjab, right? He doesn't care. He's a very nice guy, but he doesn't care about organic and all these things. I cannot make him understand also. He just want to grow some vegetable. His bees are coming and sitting cross-pollinating my garden. What is in my control? So this is second level, partially controlled. This partially controlled, I cannot control fully what is happening, right? Even though I make my own garden, there are things that are partially controlled. The third one day the wind came and, blow everything. I made all the garden, everything. This is uncontrolled. So these three situations will always be there. Our ancient science says, don't worry about the uncontrolled, that is godly made, or the partial control. Only worry about that which you can control. That is how much you have in life. Because these two situations will come in every time if you look at. There will be an uncontrolled situation where you're going to eat some food. You want to eat certain things. Then somebody will order something and then they will do something. But what you control will be only very little. This situation will happen in every piece of time.
This is
Right?
very
And that's what we
interesting.
call is the awareness. The awareness is only what you control as the awareness.
Yeah, it's a very interesting perspective. I think we can look at anybody else because I think we're running out of time. Right? So anybody else in the audience who wants to chip
Yes,
in
yes.
or ask a
Shanuji,
question, that will be good. Can people unmute
Vandanaji, please.
themselves or they have to request unmute?
Yeah. Chawla, Vidyaji. Oh, BVK Shastriji is there. Okay, so I think I have to unmute them. Mute all. Let me see. Allow participants. You can unmute yourself now. Yes. Shastriji, you wanted to add something? Shastriji is an expert in Sanskrit. He has the Yoga Samaskritam University and is a vice chancellor. So, Shastriji, you have to unmute yourself.
Mute. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I have listened to Sean and all the participants. Whatever he is telling is correct. It is the need of the hour and a novel way. YEIKCA, whatever this, how it is spelled, okay, is a very good thing. Now, I want to share three specifics in this. One is the higher end philosophy which drives this. The higher end philosophy which I connect to this experiment is from Gita. There is a shloka, Rasavarjam rasopyasya param društva nivartate. That is the highest level from Gita, from where this body-mind connection can be drawn. This is from the yoga. But that is for the very advanced meditation levels. Now let's come to the practical. Sean talked about the rasa and the Ayurveda and the dosha. Well, this is a very practical diagnostics. Talking of Ayurvedic theory in the modern medicine, okay, you have Vata dosha, Kapha dosha, Pitta dosha, people will not understand because there is a lot of research that needs to be done to map the constitution and functionality of the body, which is used in Ayurveda as Prakriti, to the body constitution as the chemical elements, neural processes, electrical fields, which is used in the modern medicine diagnostics. So that is a higher end of research. But talking of all these things to younger generation, the kids, or even to the lay persons, somebody outside, you go to an Uber or a cab driver or a fish market or a mall, what is it that drives them? How can you get them engaged into this traditional meditation? What you call as the organ-based approach to food, speech. Organ-based approach is, okay, if you take this food, it satisfies your taste. Okay, it builds you calories. It gives you vitamins. This is organ-based approach. What is organic is how the process connects your body, mind, and spirit. Okay, Deha, Chitta, Atma in the technical language to this line. This is where we are failing to give that experience base. The sharing point of experience is this. Last week, I was at Thailand conducting a workshop on Vak Yoga for the students. So Vak Yoga is a higher philosophy, but how do I teach the practical yoga practitioners, medical professionals, and then astrologers and all the other people? I use the same concept, organ speech to organic speech. start observing in yourself. When you do yoga, your body is on yoga mat. This is today's situation. But with elevated traditional thinking, body is yoga mat. When body becomes yoga mat, the teaching becomes different. So this is where taking a small food element, chewing it, tasting it, reporting the experiences, rasa. Rasa is a technical word. It comes with the tongue, it comes with the food, it comes with literature, it comes with the highest divinity. So this is where I see this dialogue and presentation by Ishan and all the other team here. Very interesting. So I have touched upon the rasa experience using the language, sounds, literature, connecting it to local meditation, speech, this line. This also is very good to connect. The same tongue which tastes also talks. How do you use this principle to refine and explain? Why do we call Rama Nama as the rasa? Why do you call music as a taste giver to the mind and not to the tongue? As the kids to experiment. This is a statement. Play around this with a sandbox. You don't have to worry about what other people have done. You can use jazz music to listen. You can use a pop music to sing. But then what happens? Observe what happens in body and mind. I think this is the starting point. What I noticed as a very interesting thing. And once the practitioner, the self-experience becomes clear, they drive for connecting to the tradition comes integrated to the desire, technically called kama, and the money, which is called the artha. And once the karma drive gets connected to kama and artha, the dharma part and moksha part automatically comes in. So it's a switching in technique that we need to do it, and nobody else can do it, better than us, who are basically in the stream of practice. We may or we may not know everything, but then we have a need to transfer the baton to the next generation. Thank you for allowing me to share this experience.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shastri.
Anybody else? Maybe we can give a last chance to somebody who wants to talk. Shanuji, Amo, Vidya, Malikarjun. I think anybody, please. Chawla. Yes. You can share your thing. What did you think? You don't have to share the whole concept wise, but at least share us how did you feel was this useful or it is too beyond your head? We don't know, because some of them we assume that some of them know certain terms and things. Was it beyond your head?
I see Chaviji is here. Chaviji, if you want to say a couple of things, it's.
Oh, thank you. Namaste. I'm sorry I was late. Actually, I missed a large part of the conversation. I just saw your text or link. So thank you. Yes. So the last bit, whatever I heard, first of all, I wanted to know, which you might have already covered, about data. I think this data is very important, and I think the term science also has to be redefined, because it is highly abused. Like science, Ayurveda is completely scientific, and as it's been like being practiced for years, far more, hundreds of years, right? And now this particular way, in the last few century probably, science has been redefined, and it's usurped this whole concept of the science itself, and that it's very defined very limitedly, and everything else has become unscientific. So anyways, yeah, but so the data, did you say that the data is exists for Ayurvedic in your like treatments or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever is
Well, we are using this data for my own treatment purpose, etc. Music, but we are looking at like a huge publication, you know, that's what we are working on. So we need a like a huge, so the p value should go so huge that we can break through, we can make a breakthrough, if you have like a huge data, then we can like bring like the fundamentals of proving. So the idea what we are doing is to this is called the paradigm shift approach of building science and technology. We are not limiting to only the Ayurveda aspect of things. When we say Ayurveda, it is vast, but not limited to the therapeutic and these things. What we are building is going back to the Shankya philosophy, right? Where the origin theory emerged.
Can I just
So there are
add to
in the Siddha tradition that's very well defined deeper in origin theory, evolution theory, all those things. So it's building science from the scratch. We are building that way, but it's already there. It's not a scratch thing. We are only redefining it, making it modernized so that it's available for the modern science. So it's complete. We don't have to rely on Big Bang, or so that we can make our own rules for this science and technology. We don't have to rely on the current science and technology and try to prove everything to the current science technology. Some of them are useful, some of the tools that we use, right? For example, spectroscopy, only I know when I study spectroscopy. But I'm using that word, but this, what I'm talking about is an ancient science. What they've done, they haven't done a modern thing, but the ancient science, this is how they did things, right?
Yeah, so let me just add to what Dr. Sean has just said. So there are several students that Dr. Sean is supervising, and they do projects. So they gather data to prove scientifically that these ancient concepts work. One example, one student did a project where she looked at the effect of plant growth on a Vastu-based structure as compared to non-Vastu-based structure. So the student do this, they gather the data, and then they actually publish. They present in conferences and they publish. And that way, the students themselves get a very strong resume, and they can use it for employment or for getting into better colleges, etc., whatever. Plus, they learn these ancient techniques because they have seen themselves that it works. One student did a project on the improving the eyesight using some of the ancient techniques. And then several participants, some of them even had to throw away their glasses. So these are the kind of projects, this is the kind of data really being gathered. I'm sure
okay.
other people will gather the same data. But
Yeah, I'll connect with you later on to clarify a little more. But also about the whole idea of the whole thing being abstract. So even the very end, I found what Shastriji also said very interesting, using the body. When the body becomes the mat, then the whole perspective change, the whole learning change, or the technique also changes. So I want to learn, I want to understand that more, maybe a little later, like outside, I don't know how, because there might be a time constraint to this. So, what are the ways that that you are thinking of to connect with and to engage not just the younger audiences even, but generally audiences, because there is a now there is a disenchantment, so to speak, with the practices outside of modern medicine, although
absolutely
it's
right.
yeah, so it has to be done very systematically and strategically, so
We can discuss
Um, I think what Dr. Shan and the team are trying to do is the current generation, the parents and the kids, they feel that the traditions are either, outdated or they are being forced upon them. So what our team is trying to do is to show them, like, if they conduct the experiment and they come up with the data, and then they come up with the result, they can see for themselves that the ancient wisdom does ring true even today. If you tell the student, if you tell your child, no, you have to do this a particular way, then the child feels that it's been forced upon them, right? It's a tradition. I don't want to do it. And then they kind of rebel. But if you tell the child that, you conduct this experiment, you come up with the data and you come up with your own results, then they can see for themselves that, yes, that information that was being given to them does hold true even today. So does that make sense?
Yeah, so this is for the high school students, right?
Well, it's for everybody, right? It's for students, for high school students and for adults, right? Whoever feels that they are questioning, they have a questioning mind, and they want to prove to themselves and to the rest of the society that a particular truth does hold water even today, right? If you constantly feel that this information is from 5,000 years ago and it's not applicable today, right? That's why we want to discard it and we go with this new allopathic or modern technology that's less than 100, 200 years old. So if we give them a chance to understand it themselves rather than forcing it on them, then they will be more open to accepting it.
Yeah, so yeah, I understand that, but how do you engage, these? It's a wider discussion. I don't want to take time,
Yeah,
so
we can
No,
we can
please go ahead.
we can discuss offline, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, I've known Chaviji for a long time. So she lives in California. Ekta ji lives in
Okay.
Seattle, but
Yeah, I
right now
live in Seattle, so
but
yeah.
right now she is in India. But and Dr.
Okay.
Sean is in New York, and I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
But
You
it's a
can
very
connect
interesting thing.
offline, we can
Very
discuss this. Okay.
captivating.
Yeah.
But we will have this meeting. See, next week we are going to have a Bharatanatyam group engaged. We talk about how like our ancient science are connected, like the conscious art forms and all are part of the ancient, Ayurveda, Siddha fundamentals. They go in that fundamentals. Yoga also is part of that. So we're going to engage different groups and discuss about how we can do research on this areas, how the students can engage. So it'll all be interesting. All the topics that we choose are based on our ancient traditional knowledge application to modern and how we're going to document. And we have done this. It's not that something new, right? And we have papers published and all of the students, there are students who went to a very good colleges after publishing this paper. They went to like very Ivy League schools and they are teaching now. Those students are teaching the other students, right? Guiding them. So that is the level we are looking at, right? In one area, because we are very limited, we have in the vastness of the ocean of modern science. Now, even though we are doing big things, we are not seen as big, right? So we need to make it, we have to join hands together. Different organizations need to work together to make this successful. So we have taken a very different route so we can, at least have something very concrete to show to the world that this is working, and yeah. Yeah.
great.
So
Thank you.
imagine we have a whole physics department of ancient physics. We can just talk hours together about physics in ancient physics, not modern I'm talking about. So that is the amount of knowledge we have, this team. But it has to come, people should engage, should know that this exists, right? To the modern world. So it is taking time. Marketing is a very difficult task for these kind of things, right? Because they have seen us as an alternative, which is not the right way. This is a very, very ancient medicine. It cannot be called as an alternative.
Correct. That's exactly
real
what I
medicine.
was thinking 2 days ago. It's very clever. Now the practice that has been prevalent for so many years has become alternative suddenly.
Yes.
Exactly. It's the other way around.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Mainstream.
Every idea was picked from ancient, even the calendar idea. We have a very document-based things like where many ideas came, right, from in this world, right? Where this surgery came, where Shalya Tantra, they were explained in in Ayurveda, and in the Siddha tradition, they did the first brain surgery. And this is also not known by many people. Agastya, sage scientist Agastya and Thereyer is his disciple. They did the first brain surgery in the world, and they opened up a brain completely, and they refix it. So there's the nadis and everything. They use 26 types of devices. They mentioned what are the devices. Everything has been documented in our ancient literature. So we have documents. What else is needed, So now we have to bring this to our students, make them understand this is our traditional knowledge. We need to bring this is for the whole world. It's not that it's just for India, right? The whole
Absolutely.
world can change only when you use our ancient wisdom. That's the only possible way, because all these people, they did not work. They gone beyond countries, religion, everything they crossed. That's our ancient people. Now only we're looking at religion, borders, and all these things. Our ancient wisdom is beyond borders, beyond time, right? It's not limited to any culture also. So it's vastness. We have to bring that to the world.
Getting late, we should probably
All right.
wrap it up
Yes. All right. Thank you, Dr. Shan and Dr. Gupta and Chaviji for your questions.
Yes.
So, please join us next Wednesday, same time, same place, same link for more information for another edition of our webinar, Wednesday webinars.
Yeah. And after
All
that,
right.
Ektaji will be talking about some Ayurvedic stuff deep down after this webinar. So we have lined up, speakers, and you can go a little deeper into all the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, body types, modernization, and all these things. So a lot of things, so students can have a vast number of things, psychology applications, etc. Like to
now. Chaviji can give a good talk as well. I mean, he has very deep knowledge. Health theory.
Oh, thank you. Actually, I just finished writing a book, Guptaji.
Oh, very good.
Yes. So just looking at some, how to publish it, maybe self-publish now. I don't know. We'll see. So
You're
yeah.
welcome to our team.
Maybe Dr. Shan can give you some
We
pointers.
can help you to publish. If you wanted to publish in our journals also, you're welcome. And if you want any help in publishing, we are here. And we can
Thank you.
also promote you if you're doing anything ancient science. This is our organization where we welcome all people who have the right intention.
Sure. Thank you.
Work. Yeah, you're welcome.
We can talk about it separately.
Sure.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Great.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody, then.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.